I'm so excited that we had 8 senators have a moment of clarity, and I'm so glad that they caved. They owned the shutdown. They celebrated the shutdown. They destroyed the blue-collar worker, air traffic controllers, SNAP programs. They bragged about what they did, and we had 8 wonderful senators have that moment of clarity. They caved. So it's going to be procedure right now. They're bringing Cornyn. I believe he was flying in from Texas. We get that vote. We have a conference call. We're going to huddle this morning. I believe we're on 10 or 11 with the speaker. I imagine we'll get the 48-hour call. We'll be there Wednesday, probably work all day Wednesday, Thursday, bang this out. Should have it to the president's desk by Friday.
So you're expecting the president to sign it and reopen this government by the end of this week. Look, the House voting timing is when? Wednesday?
Wednesday would be the earliest, Maria, probably Thursday.
And that's Ohio Congressman Michael Rulli with me earlier on this program, expecting the government to reopen Thursday or Friday. The Senate clearing a critical procedural hurdle overnight to bring an end to this record 41-day government shutdown. And that's because 8 Democrat caucus members joined all but 1 Republican in a 60-40 vote, allowing the updated continuing resolution to move forward after more than 13 times votes since September. It includes a full-year minibus for 3 appropriations bills to be attached, funding agencies through next fall. It also funds the SNAP program through next September and reverses federal worker layoffs, a final package vote set for the coming days, as you just heard. Joining me now with more is Arkansas Congressman French Hill. He is the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. Mr. Chairman, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And I know the deal, of course, needs the president's signature. But what's the impact on the financial services industry, in your view, now that we will see a reopening?
Well, Maria, it's good to be back with you. First of all, the decline in uncertainty after Chuck Schumer led Democrats off into the desert for 40 days. We've got clarity that leads, I think, to a better business environment. One thing that is so frustrating to our business owners, operators, public and private, is government uncertainty. And when you have this kind of a shutdown, not only are you punishing workers, punishing government workers, punishing our families dependent on government programs, but you're also throwing uncertainty in the market, like, can I get my S-1 approved at the SEC for my company to go public? What if market conditions wholly change in the 40 days of Democrat shutdown? So I think this is good news. I look forward to getting the Financial Services Committee back up and running on the issues that are important to the American people, like housing affordability, how artificial intelligence will affect their banking and securities accounts.
Yeah, I think you make great points because the uncertainty certainly did impact progress and growth. I mean, look, we're going to see these numbers in the first quarter when we actually see the serious impact that this has had to the economy, these 41 days of being closed. But I wonder what it was that actually got those Democrats to say enough. Was it the fact that we're seeing serious impact to the economy? Was it the fact that travel was snarled and canceled across the country and it was really impacting American families? Was it the fact that so many people had lost their SNAP benefits? Or was it the discussion over the filibuster, as Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson raised to me yesterday? Here's what he said. Watch.
Democrats, we already know, they absolutely will nuke the filibuster. They purged the 2 members that prevented that last time. Every last one of them in the Senate right now is pledged to nuke the filibuster. I can't imagine a Democrat Senate candidate not having to pledge that. So when they gain power, and that's what we need to prevent, they can never gain power again. If they gain power, they'll nuke the filibuster to maintain power. They will obstruct every good piece of legislation President Trump and Republicans want to pass. So we better act first. I wish the Democrats respect the filibuster. It's a good thing for the institution, but they don't. So you have to recognize that reality. Are Democrats dedicated to nuking the filibuster when the other side's in power or not? Be about the only thing that would restrain them from nuking it when they got power if they're on record as saying no when President Trump was in office.
Do you think you have the support within the Republican Party?
Probably not now, but again, we didn't have the support to change the rules on nominations until the Democrats were so obstructive, so obnoxious. When the House passed a very reasonable CR, the same type of continuing resolution the Democrats voted for 13 times under Biden, at Biden's spending levels, and they are still holding firm, emboldened by Tuesday's election.
Congressman, that's pretty damning that so many people expect that if the Democrats do get the trifecta and get in charge again, that they will do away with the filibuster. Wow.
Yeah, it's terrible. Look, the Democrats want to pack the Supreme Court. The Democrats want to have Puerto Rico added as a state, D.C. as a state. They want to run rampant over our Constitution and our way of life. If we let this happen, that's the gateway to it. I'm opposed to doing away with the filibuster. I think it protects minority rights. What we need to do to fix it is a much more elegant solution. Let's have Mr. Smith go to Washington, just like in the movie, and make these senators, if they're so intent on shutting down the government, they've got to hold the floor for a live traditional filibuster and not give up the microphone. That's the only way to put discipline back in the filibuster process. If you can stop all government by just not showing up to vote or voting no and have no other consequence, the only people hurt by that are the American people. And if the Democrats get in control and try to do what FDR tried to do and pack the court, the only person hurt there is the entire American democracy and our Constitution.
Wow, that is just unbelievable. Well, look, when the government finally reopens this week, we're expecting Congress can take on the Clarity Act, the long-awaited crypto market regulation bill, bipartisan talks reportedly resuming in the Senate. Mr. Chairman, what can you tell us? Because no doubt a reopening is good for financial services and for crypto as well, right?
You bet, because we have pending before the Congress a National Defense Authorization Bill trying to repair the ag damage to our economy from no farm bill during the Biden administration, no Biden enforcement of the Chinese soybeans deal. We need an ag bill, and that's another reason to open to Congress. You're right. We've made progress during September and October on market structure for digital assets. The Clarity Act, which we passed with 78 Democrats in the House back in July, is now subject of intensive work in the Senate by both Senate Democrats and Republicans on the Banking Committee and on the Senate Agriculture Committee. They're making strong progress, and I hope we can conclude that in coming days. It's been hurt by the shutdown, so I'm looking forward to working with them and getting it across the floor and to President Trump's desk.
Okay, so the Senate will amend this bill and then send it to the House. Are you expecting that the House will pass this bill? Tell us how the next couple of days look from your standpoint.
Well, the Senate's working hard in both the Ag Committee and the Banking Committee to come up with any suggestions or amendments they have to the House Clarity Act. We're trying to work with them to coordinate that work, listen to their ideas. They're talking among themselves on a bipartisan basis. And then we'll work to make sure that we have a product that on a bicameral basis, we can pass again on the House floor and send to President Trump's desk. This is an important economic growth consideration for the U.S. It's an important priority for both Republicans and Democrats on a bicameral basis.
Do you think this last 41 days of government closure is going to hit the economy hard?
I do. I don't think this is why, for all my years in Congress, there is no upside to a shutdown.
Yeah.
The people who promoted this shutdown, Chuck Schumer, had nothing to show for it except human misery, inconvenience, and higher government spending. And he shut down the very process that he was in the middle of, which was appropriating money for fiscal 26. And this is something that we have to do on a bipartisan basis, and we need 60 votes in the Senate in order to achieve that spending. But government shutdowns accomplish nothing except hurt the economy and hurt the American families.
Congressman, it's great to see you this morning, as always. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brooke.